lady. I got 6 reasons why.
Yeah.
Dang.
Oh, my
Oh.
friend. 9.
Oh my god, he's so cool. I'm gonna try to make a Nightcrawler costume where the part is not going into my crotch. He's so cool. Like, look at this, look at this.
He's got long blue tongues, but he's got a long blue tail.
And they can just reattach their body parts, so they're
man.
endless. They're endless.
Rogue needs to wake up.
Yeah, bro.
Wake up! I love him so much. Look at that.
Oh.
He's like, shit, I have to hold on.
I'm high as hell.
He's like, this is what you go through every time you do this?
Magneto was right.
That's right, Magneto was right.
Are we gonna be on Magneto's side at the end of the world?
Enough.
At the end of time?
Magneto was
I mean,
right.
I don't want to be on his bad
Bastion
side.
looks surprised. He wasn't expecting this.
You know how strong he's doing this? Because in Godzilla, they can only reach a 2-mile radius.
Spider-Man.
It's Spidey!
He's like,
He's surprised.
He's so
It's
badass.
pizza time.
Silver Samurai.
So badass, so badass. Put them in the actual show, cowards.
Oh my God, I'm saying stuff.
Omega Red.
We just
Let him out of
finally
the
got
tube.
him back from the bottom of the ocean.
His junk was so huge.
Omega Red?
Yeah, did you see it?
I mean, listen, if the Russians are gonna build a better Captain America, they better build him with a bigger package.
Welcome back to the after show here on the Breakroom. This time for X-Men 97, Episode 8, Tolerance is Extinction. Part 1. Hit that graphic. Oh my gosh, beautiful, gorgeous, we love it. So many shows, and so many shows after those shows. Folks, did X-Men 97 do a better Secret Invasion than Secret Invasion did? They did. And did Beast unknowingly accelerate the fall of mutant kind? He did. He's a bad doctor. We'll get into all those questions and more. I'm Brandon Barrick. Joining me today, she's been known from time to time to say that Magneto was right. It's Jessica Clemons.
Hi, if tolerance is extinction, sobriety is forever?
Oh, okay. Sure. I'll get that
Are those
tattoo.
oh, thank you.
I'll get that tattoo. And she's got 6, make that 9 reasons why you should watch the show today. It's Gina Ippolito.
69 reasons?
No, how could
yo.
you? I didn't. I was just quoting the show.
Set her up for it.
I was quoting the show. But now that you say that, it's like, they probably made that joke in the writer's room, huh? Oh, well. Hey, we'll discuss we'll discuss all these cameos we saw in this episode and what the absolute point is all about and what might happen in the next 2 parts of this finale, this 3-part finale. We got a lot coming down the pipe. But before we do, Jessica, kick us off with a recap of what happened in this episode.
Yeah, and then I'll kick you in the head.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah! Okay. After the attack by Barrick Prime Sentinel, the X-Men regroup at the mansion with Cable. Cyclops feels like an even worse father when he finds out that Bishop and Cable got separated in the
Dude,
time.
that was some harsh shit.
It was very funny. They were like, where's Bishop? He got lost.
I haven't seen him since I was an infant. I'm like, ooh, that was a miss.
He went, yeeks. That's why I'm a bad dad. Cable teaches problems with the Future 101, explaining that the fallout from Genosha is what gets Bastion the backing for his Prime Sentinel program. Created with the same techno-organic virus that Cable has, they become the dominant species after a 300-year-long evolutionary war using the mutants as their tools to build a utopian future.
Okay.
Ooh, sounds like a good idea when you think about it. Execution, maybe not. But think about it. Cable's computer cube explains that every time they try to stop Genosha, they keep getting temporally pulled away from the event. Beast references Carmitage and seems to confirm what we've hinted at in the past, that the massacre on Genosha is an absolute point, hinting at some what-if language that we'll get into a little bit later.
Yeah, so much happening in this episode. But unfortunately for the mutants, the broadcast of Xavier marrying Lilandra and Guy Ritchie's murder make the news. This is not great PR for the mutants right now.
Smart of Bastion to leak
Very
it, though.
smart. I mean, these are good stories to leak out to the press. Very good. So Cable, Jean, and Cyclops take a family road trip to Pittsburgh in Cyclops' Porsche. Did Beast build the Porsche? I have so many questions about how he has a branded car inside the X-Jet.
Yeah.
Do you think if you put your Porsche inside of the X-Jet, it voids the warranty?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. What happened to the Mazda from X2? Was that not a good enough car for Cyclops? I want the Mazda back. Anyways, so they head to Pittsburgh, following Cable's coordinates from his quote, rebel in the future to track down the origin of the Prime Sentinels. Instead, they find Bastion's origin in his home, meeting his mom, his creepy mom, and peering into his past, revealing that Bastion's father was infected by a Nimrod before his parents gave birth to him. Former showrunner Bo DeMeo confirmed that 2 characters from the original series in the episodes One Man's Worth, they're supposed to be Bastion's parents. So he found like actual characters, kind of retconned them into being Bastion's parents.
Yeah, they were in that bar. Bastion's mom is the racist waitress.
Yeah. You know, she's not an ally. That's for sure. That's for sure.
She seems like such a sweet old woman.
Coming out of the shadows.
Yeah. We gotta kick them out for loving each other. How dare they? Valerie Cooper is alive and apparently working with Bastion in some capacity and refuses to be Mystique. She will not reveal herself as Mystique.
I thought she was.
I thought we
finally.
all were
I thought
ready.
she was finally.
Like, here it is.
And then she said, I'm still her.
Valerie Cooper, she compares Mr. Sinister to Joseph Mengele, a real-life Nazi scientist, and he's totally cool with that. And he's like, hey, I met Mengele. What a guy. They actually used the N-word Nazi in this show.
Yeah, which
Something
they weren't
they've
allowed
never-
to do in the original series. Not allowed to do.
They say Nazis. So Mr. Sinister, he's cool with everything that's going on because he's like, we get to mess with mutants. I love it. I don't care what happens. We get an almost completely nude Magneto giving Val Cooper the cold shoulder when she tries to apologize. And really, Magneto is right. Like, do not let this lady apologize.
Yeah.
Also, I've never seen a cold shoulder be so effective. He's like silent treatment, and immediately she's like,
I'll let you go.
You broke me.
Please just say something. I was like, oh my gosh.
Just ask her a sandwich. Anyway, Bastion pulls some classic evil villain stuff, surrounded by other villains in a TV room in his evil lair. The cameos of villains, we got Doctor Doom, Baron Zemo, and possibly Madam Hydra. We see a woman kind of in the shadows.
Don't make it very clear, which is so annoying.
Yeah, they all submit to his plans. Bastion reveals his master plan, Operation Zero Tolerance, dumping frustrated humans into Nickelodeon goo vats to give them the techno-organic virus. I mean, when you put it that way, I would do it.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying, if someone was like, hey, you want to get slimed? I would be like, yeah, we're just getting slimed.
But they're drowning you. And Nickelodeon, they pour it on top of you.
Yeah, but you don't even get to remember. That's the thing.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, you're right.
There was like a whole audience
maybe
too.
They give
There
you
was an episode of like, what would you do? I think.
Maybe they give you one of those like on like a photograph while you're on the ride.
Oh
to
yeah.
Disneyland.
You're
It's
like, did this happen?
I'm getting goo.
Now, can I get the? If I get the techno-organic virus, I want the version that is thrown at you via several pie plates. You get strapped to the machine and the hands go.
Can I choose how I get it?
Yeah.
Can I get a firing squad?
I want to dig into the giant nose full of techno-organic virus.
Maybe Nickelodeon was turning everyone into sleeper agents. That's what this goo does. It turns them into sleeper Prime Sentinels, and they're triggered by mutant interaction.
Okay.
Which just so happens to trigger Bastion's mom's transformation, as well as his entire town as they pursue the Summers. And this is some Harry Potter Nagini old woman moment
Very
here,
creepy.
where it's like, I'm just a helpless. I'm full of snake.
Let me go
There's
pack.
a snake in me.
Also, X-Men, why are you so stupid? Like, this old lady's like, let me just go pack, and they're like, yeah, go do whatever you want.
You mean Cable's
first, Cable isn't technically an X-Men yet, and his first instinct was, I guess we play the part. And I went, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
I mean, to be fair, who would have thought that this woman would be super strong?
In the dark?
The second she's like, I'm gonna pull a gun on you, it would be like, just push her over.
I
think instead she turned into a super powerful robot.
She's very powerful.
Anyway, Beast makes the mistake, of tweaking Cerebro to detect Prime Sentinels all over the world, and he possibly activates them as Trish Tilby transforms and attacks him.
This is dirty. This is so messed up.
After she had the nerve to flirt with him.
Like, she signed up for this?
Apparently, maybe maybe whatever news channel she works with is like, part of your contract is you have to get in the goo.
Well, maybe she was worried that like her news channel would hire like a Mystique-esque mutant to play every anchor on set, and they're like, well, we could just hire one mutant to play the entire 6 o'clock news team.
You want to work for WHIH, you got to get gooed.
We might probably get into this later. At what point were they signing up to do this?
At some point, because
Was
they
it
were
voluntarily,
going
though?
on dial-up chat rooms.
But it wasn't voluntary. Like they were.
No,
so
it was
they
voluntary.
were doing a chat room, and then they showed up and were dunked in goose.
I think
Yeah,
90%
I
of the
think they got
population.
radicalized.
Yeah,
I think they
it's
got
kind of
radicalized.
implied that like, hey, you really hate these mutants too? Show up at our little organization. You're gonna volunteer for something that's gonna help in the future.
Yeah.
You don't know what it is.
I don't think they jump
No,
to
they
goo
probably-
right away.
They
I
don't
think
tell
they're
about
like,
the
hey,
goo.
let's do a letter writing campaign.
so there's a possibility-
And then later
Yeah.
we'll do the goo.
Yeah.
Not to say people change, but there's a possibility Trish had this done to her ages ago and is now a changed person.
Yeah.
Or she did it thinking
Yes.
she'd become a
Yes.
mutant.
In
or she
theory-
did a lot
because
of
you do
reasons.
forget. You
She could
forget.
have signed up, and then she met Beast, and she's like,
Yeah.
yeah, they're not
they're
so
not
bad.
so bad.
Maybe like in her early 20s, she was dating a guy who was like, I don't know about these mutants. And he was like, you want to get matching tattoos and get dipped in the goo together?
Yeah.
And she was
She was
like,
like,
okay.
wait, what was that last part?
Anyway, the same thing happens with Roberto's butler.
That was crazy.
While Roberto and Jubilee are shopping for clothes and trying to avoid Roberto's mom, his butler reveals he gooed himself.
Yeah, he got gooed. He got gooed hard, dude.
God.
Jubilee has some great quips, rightfully declaring that she's over malls. And you know what? Society's over malls, too.
Oh, harsh.
dude. But the food-
As someone from New Jersey, that is harsh.
But food courts are saving malls. They're coming back, folks.
I don't know. No, I don't think anyone wants Charlie's subs anymore.
No, it's all about the Sbarro, baby.
Yeah. Sbarros are saving them all. Then Jubilee laments that everyone can fly except her. I feel you, girl. She tries to do a little plasmoid
Yeah.
flying. I mean, that's a good time to try, I guess, but don't risk your life. So when she's trying to fly, she falls, but Roberto saves her. Finally embracing his power, he's fully sun-spotted. And he reveals he's been practicing in the danger room. Adorable. But they end up literally crashing in his mom's Genosha fundraiser.
Yeah.
Humans for Genosha. Tons of shrimp. Looks great. These dudes chase them in. Glowing hands and all. They see the people looking and they kind of like, hey, let's be cool. Let's be cool.
Who are we
They're
supposed to root for in this?
They're like, oh, we're just trying to help. And mom's like, yeah, go with these guys.
Yeah.
Mom. Oh my gosh. Mom.
Well, she heard everybody at the party immediately
Yeah.
go, her son's a mutant?
Her
Yeah.
son's a mutant.
She said, she's like, I'm playing face.
I'm-
Go with those people.
I'm not going to write a check anymore. Her son's a mutant.
I thought this benefit was for the mutants.
Yeah, but I mean,
Very conflicted
from
right
a
now.
distance, I want to send the money but never touch a mutant. Oh, disgusting. Have you heard about the goo? I got gooed recently. I don't remember much, but I think...
It makes my stomach hurt.
You never know.
That has to be your Halloween costume this year. You have to be someone who got goo.
I go to a party looking normal, and I say, "Oh, what are you supposed to
No
be?"
one will know what you are.
Oh, you're Cyclops.
Everyone, his nerdy friends, everyone will know.
Carrie's friends, they won't know who you are.
I'll run into someone dressed as a mutant, and when I see them, I go, "Oh, that's interesting." And then I run into the bathroom. I put on some foundation. I draw some little pink lines.
Yeah.
I put in my yellow contacts, and I come back out, and I'm like,
Carrie's friends will be like, what is he doing?
"Assault all mutants! Must destroy mutants!" And then I'll see people looking at me like, "Just kidding. We want to save the mutants. Come with me and my glowing hands."
And you need another person to do it with you.
Yeah, yeah,
You can't
yeah.
do it by yourself.
Do not judge me for getting goo.
I got good. Listen, it was college. I was just trying things.
Times.
What is that stupid shirt that's like, I went to I went to the
I went
Bahamas.
to-
All I came back with was a stupid goo.
Yeah. I went to Mr. Sinister's house of fun, and all I got was good. Well,
Oh, my stomach.
during all of this, we get some great action scenes while the Summers, Wolverine, Nightcrawler, and Morph fight off Prime Sentinels as more and more show up to fight. But the Prime Sentinels keep regenerating. They slice off hands and they come back. They can't stop these things. Also, Scott ruins yet another Blackbird.
Oof.
Sorry, Beast. He's like, I can't do this anymore. Crash this one.
Where's their money coming from? Where's their funding coming from?
Xavier was loaded, dude.
Yeah, that's true.
The Xavier's are
I know.
loaded.
Also, they're
loaded.
probably, if they're like doing taxes as a school, they're probably fine.
Yeah.
Because we know the guys are making
William Worthington has come into his
Yeah,
fortune
he's
since
got some
then.
money. So the Summers get to bond through all the fighting. You know, Cable's like, you're not my mom, but you're kind of being like my mom. It's great. It's all working out pretty well. Jean talks about like it's crazy because Jean was talking about like she kind of has the memories of having the baby because her mind kind of synced with Madeline's. Very weird. Bastion confronts Cooper about freeing Magneto, and she monologues that tragedies in Genosha feel like deja vu, and ultimately believes that Magneto was right. And with that, we see Magneto at the North Pole using the Earth's magnetic force to heal himself and amplify his powers, and all around the world, recognizable faces see what's going on. Spider-Man, Silver Samurai, Omega Red! As power goes out, the Prime Sentinels are depowered and fall to the ground. The X-Men recover among the bodies of unconscious Sentinels, and Wolverine says that Magneto has declared war. And just when they need him, Professor Xavier returns, saying the iconic line, "To me, my X-Men."
To me, my X-Men.
Crazy.
This episode had "To me, my X-Men." Magneto was right, and then I still loved Cyclops' like little like "Don't screw with the Summers." And
Don't screw the summer. Had my Stars and Garters from Beast.
Oh yeah, my star. Yeah, this episode had a lot of the quotes from.
A lot of big quotes in this episode. Yeah.
Daddy's home.
Daddy's
Oh,
home.
that one. Where's that one from again? Sorry.
I met Joseph Mangala. I told him to chill the fuck out.
What does Wolverine say to Beast? He's like, I gotta talk to Hank
Oh, yeah.
about his taste in women. or
Oh,
something.
I got 69 reasons why you're gonna say yes. Something like that. Some quote like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, pretty crazy episode. And yeah, Magneto kind of like creating an EMP around the world.
Yeah,
Hell
that's
yeah.
insane.
It's that must have killed some people, right?
Oh, yeah.
Airplanes
It
flying in the
explodes,
sky.
and anyone who has a pacemaker.
Anyone who's a
that was my
pacemaker.
first thing. I was like,
Dead.
anyone with a pacemaker's fucking
Anyone
dead.
driving an electric car, dead. I guess
Dead.
any car.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Hey, there's
that's
one
right.
electric car, and the car companies are squashing it, and they're getting rid of it.
The stocks go down on
Any
everything.
plane flying,
Any plane
crash.
flying, helicopters going in the air.
Crash.
Anyone on a jet ski stuck in the middle of the ocean
also,
now.
tons of people are stuck in elevators right now.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like a sitcom.
That's annoying.
It's a sitcom's wacky dream.
That's a lot of bottle
well,
episodes.
we were enemies before we got stuck in this elevator, but now we're the
We have to
Breakfast
learn to get
Club.
along.
That'd be
But
so-
I'm pregnant. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Babies born in elevators all over the place.
Yeah, every
classic bottle
other
episode.
episode of Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
I don't like this.
So before we get into all of our questions from this episode, any favorite moments you folks would like to point out? Anything that really stuck out for you?
Other than Magneto and a Speedo?
Yeah.
Magneto and a Speedo.
Dude,
That's my favorite song.
we talked about this before the show, but the first time you see Magneto is just in a reflection of a glass, like a beaker, and you see a naked man in an exposition. I'm like,
And it's
they
like
are not about
red,
to show
it's
this.
red pinkish lights,
Yeah.
and I said, "This is BDSM."
And then they show it, and I'm like, oh my god.
I'm gonna take a photo. They're so lucky you can't screen grab on Disney Plus. I'm gonna take a photo. I'm gonna take it home.
Yeah.
What is Brittany Brosy's get? And I'm gonna frick it. I'm gonna frick it.
Oh, have you guys seen that the internet is thirsting over AJ Lacasio because he posted like a shirtless Joe selfie, and now everyone's like,
Oh, is that the voice of
Gambit.
Gambit,
Yeah, because he's
yeah.
hot as hell.
Yeah,
He's
and
fine
people
as hell.
and like there were like 10 articles that are like the gay community loves AJ Lacasio, and he reposted
like-
all of them and was like, wow, thanks you guys.
That's me. Wow, I didn't know I was so
Thanks,
pretty.
fellas.
No, they know what
Gee.
they're doing with Magneto. They put him in that robe naked.
Yeah.
They put him in this. They put him in things where he's putting his fingers in like Rogue's mouth. I'm like, okay, at this point, you're calling me.
Yeah,
you're telling me
this-
to come through this screen, and I
This is some
can't.
intense stuff. Yeah, that was pretty wild. I mean, I really loved, seeing Nightcrawler really in action.
Oh yeah.
The three swords, the shot of him pulling the dude through the brimstone dimension with Wolverine,
Yeah,
the kind of
attached to it.
stretching.
Yeah.
Also, just
that,
incredible.
That Nightcrawler voice actor,
Is
killing
so-
Yeah.
it. He's so good. That
The kind of
eulogy
classical
last episode,
music
and
they
then
put
this
behind
time
it.
where he's like, "Oh, your family is."
Yeah.
He's so this. I forgot why Nightcrawler was so cool. Well, no, I didn't. X2 is my favorite, but I was like, I love Nightcrawler. I love Alan Cummings, but this just cemented. I'm
was
like,
great.
in every universe, Nightcrawler is
Yeah.
the best.
Badass.
Also, I forgot that I didn't forget. I always remember that there's that beef between like, Mystique being his parent. Is it the father or the mother?
I did like
What's
they
going on?
brought her
They
up.
addressed
They
it,
brought
yeah.
her up. They were
Addressed it,
like,
they're
hey,
like,
remember
that-
she exists. We're planning something
Yeah.
cool. It's not Val Cooper. Because I also think Val Cooper's arm is in a sling. And I think, first of all, Bastion would sense if she was Mystique.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
I
and at this
assumed-
point she would have
I
switched
thought
back.
she was just in it. And
Yeah,
then
and
she
I
was gonna come
assumed
out.
Mystique was helping Bastion, but I think even Mystique, who's, intentions or what she wants doesn't always align with better mutant kind.
Yeah,
I don't think she would
yeah.
turn against mutants this much.
I don't know. She in the original series she was like aligned with Apocalypse because she like kind of it was implied like maybe she because Rogue is like you need to leave that man, Mama.
Right. Yeah, he's not a great guy. Apocalypse ain't a great guy.
I did like the whole horror vibe of the old woman turning into the thing and then them going outside and like just all the zombies are there. I was like, oh,
the long tongues.
I love some horror homages.
That shot of Rogue who's still passed out in the hospital bed.
Yeah,
and
get
just
up,
like,
girl. What are you doing?
A shot from
Wake her ass up.
a shot from outside the window, and you see that there's a bunch of Sentinels in there with glowing eyes, and you're like, oh fuck.
They were like, she's out, so we can just choke her.
Yeah.
But it was giving the Scarlet Witch and Multiverse of Madness coming through the mirrored glass where she was going. And I was like, I think Marvel now knows that it's very eerie and gross for a body to break a bunch and come back.
Yeah. I love it. Give me more horror.
Those people that changed, they're dead now.
That's a good question.
Well, they're snapping their necks.
Boulevard Trask like died, but it does look the transformation.
Like,
the old lady's transformation was violent, but most of them were pretty like.
I would think that it's like unless you die while you're there, like I think that they can probably still be turned back to normal.
I think there's no going back. I don't know.
I think they need to counteract the virus somehow. They need to de-goo them.
Yeah. That's what they're probably gonna
the ungooing.
Because too many people are now dead.
Right.
Yeah.
Because when he did it, and then we go back to the mansion, we see a bunch of them like laid over.
Yeah.
Well, after the EMP.
Which, by the way, I would immediately, if that were me, I would be like, let's figure out how to kill them while they're depowered. Because clearly they're just like Nimrod in the original, they can so it's like put them in some molten lava or something, just like, or scatter them all across the globe. Figure out a way to kill them now instead of just being like, let's call people, make sure they're okay. No, put them in a pile and try and burn them.
These people signed up for it. There's no saving them.
I think it was because seeing Xavier also come out was what stunned them. They were like, oh, it is true. Even though they saw on the news the entire wedding, they still reacted like, oh, it is real. And I was like, yes, it's real. The news wasn't just like showing a weird video.
Listen, I'm kind of on any of the X-Men side right now with Xavier showing up just to be like, dude, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, fuck off.
We don't need you right now.
No way. I would be like, you better have a good plan. Also, you have an entire planet.
Yeah. I hope you were thinking on your flight home.
Bring in those Shi'ars and have them fly
where's the army, dude?
off planet.
Where's your wife's army, my guy?
I do think it's hilarious that the anti-mutant protesters, that some of them were not changed. Yeah. And they're just like, huh? Like someone next to them is like, yeah, no more, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, and then they're like, I might be on the wrong side of this. Am I bad? Am I the bad guy here?
Like, Jeremy, you didn't get gooed? He's like, I was going to. I didn't know. I thought I had another week.
It was in my Google Calendar. Yeah. It's hard to get an appointment these days.
You swore you got gooed. But I was at the protest and you did not change. They're like, look at your face.
Stop faking the goo.
Your eyes are still the same. Yeah. They haven't changed into bright beams.
Imagine if you're on a date with someone and like they all of a sudden change and you're like, oh, is this a deal breaker?
You're talking about Genosha. You're like, yeah, it's so horrible. What happened? The pasta goes all over the fucking table.
Diane, you're saying he changed? He was good?
Check, please.
But listen, hear me out. He's a doctor, okay? Yes, he got gooed.
It's so hard
yes,
to be
he got
good
gooed, but he's a doctor.
City.
He wants to have kids.
Look, on paper, he's great.
It turns into Sex in the City. You don't understand.
You don't
Big is a good guy.
He got himself gooed, and then I got myself gooed.
Oh, honey.
No, it was Samantha. That's Samantha.
Oh, honey. Were you saying he's a robot everywhere?
And then Charlotte says, if you let a guy goo you on the first date, he's never gonna marry you.
As long as he's a vibrator, then honey, I don't have a problem. I don't see a problem. Sorry, I had to. I love Sex in the City.
We need to write this crossover script.
You're telling me he's a vibrator whose batteries I don't have to change?
Yeah.
Honey, I'm in.
Stop. No one steal this idea. We're gonna sell it to make millions.
Sex in the Genosha? Sex in the... We'll get there.
We'll get there. Write your suggestions in the chat for our Sex in the City.
Before we keep writing our own fan fiction, we want to thank our sponsors today, like Marvel Move. One of our sponsors this week for this episode is Marvel Move, a fitness app with immersive audio that makes you feel like you're running, walking, or jogging through your very own MCU film. That's right. Marvel Move is a fully featured fitness app with GPS, run mapping, step tracking, and stats. But the really unique factor is the motivation you'll get from progressing through thrilling original Marvel stories. I've been using Marvel Move myself. It's actually very fun. I hate running. It's awful. I hate it almost as much as I hate reading. But the fun thing about Marvel Move is you can like listen to your normal Spotify or whatever playlist, and then like it interrupts during your run with like little storylines. I'm doing like a 5K trainer right now with like Thor and Loki, and they find these dumb little reasons why you have to keep running. But it's fun because like they'll fill in with some story. They got great voice actors and stuff, and then like they'll tell you like, oh, you gotta run really fast right now. Now stop running. Now do this. Do X. It kind of keeps track of your run, and it gives you different reasons to run.
Yeah.
You can do another storyline where like you're doing like the Krakoa, and you're going through the gateways, and like you're being chased by Sentinels, so you have to run faster or they'll catch you. Like fun stuff like that. If you're entirely new to running and need a little structure and guidance, like myself, your Marvel Move subscription includes Thor and Loki's 5K training, like I was talking about. It's an 8-week-long program that will train you to run your first 5K with 12 hours of audio drama. Plus, you'll get new workouts weekly with stories from A-list writers like Teenie Howard and Gary Duggan, plus more series and new characters arriving in summer 2024. They send you little cute emails. You collect stuff. It's fun. You can download the ZRX app on iPhone and Android to try Marvel Move for 1 week for free. When you're ready to dive in, head to zrx.app/newrockstars and use coupon code NEWROCKSTARS at checkout for 50% off your first month. There's also a link in the description below. If there isn't, I just force them to put one in there. We also want to remind you to check out nerdriot.shop. We've got tons of X-Men inspired designs right now, like our Gambit Remember It shirt and our Deadpool and Wolverine shirts. That's how it was written in the script. We also, this week, we're launching some Star Wars shirts in honor of May the 4th. So check out those. Always some great merch options at nerdriot.shop. That's a great way to support the channel. So check it out. Tons of great designs, tons of fandoms, all over at nerdriot.shop. Okay. Let's talk about the absolute point, which Beast describes as Genosha's event that, quote, occurs across all timelines. So yeah, I mean, it's something we've talked about on these after shows before, and anytime we talk about the mutants, it's like they're always getting destroyed, right? And like Genosha, you know, when this show kind of like started and the trailer included Genosha, we were all like, oh no, this will not end well. It never ends well. So what do we think of them kind of like tying in this idea of like an absolute point, which is something we heard in What If?
Yeah, and we've seen it in other, I mean, they hint, like with the Christine Palmer situation,
Sure.
she dies every time.
And even like across the Spider-Verse, right? These canon events that can't be changed. These moments that have to happen. Uncle Ben's gotta die.
I want to know how many times Cable watched his mama die.
It was a million. He kept being like, not again. And Cable is kind of a fucking idiot. I love him to death. I love him to
maybe
death.
an hour before? I don't know.
He should have just written on a big sign, everyone's gonna die.
Yeah.
Instead, he was like, turn off the music. You can't hear me. The music is too loud. Hey, turn it off.
Is everyone here? I need everybody here.
Yeah. I have an announcement to make. Just put it on a big sandwich board and come flying through the portal. It's like, you're gonna die.
Again, an hour before. 2 hours before. But a day before.
He kept doing it, but it seemed like the time, the whole fact that time kept pulling him back.
Yeah,
Like, hey, you can't do it. Which is funny because when we see Doctor Strange do it, it was himself redoing it. It wasn't time pulling him out, but I think that's because he absorbed so much of that, whatever it was making.
Send him a voicemail. Go through the portal. Send him a voice message.
Yeah.
That's like, and he just like, listen to the voice message on your phone. Bye. And then it's like, hey, you're about to be destroyed. Put a protective bubble over you or something.
Futurama, get a bank account, get a savings account.
Well, and it almost seems like he has a time and he's like, I'm going to go back. I'm going to stop it. And it's like, while he's going back, that shifts, right?
Yeah.
So by the time he shows up, he's not at the time he thinks he's going to be at.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I'm being screwed again. So what do we think this force is, though? What is pulling him out? Is that like time itself? Is it eternity?
I think
is
it's
it
time
TVA?
itself. Because the only reason the only way we've also seen this absolute point was in that Doctor Strange episode where he
can't save
literally
Christian Palmer.
Yeah, but he's also controlling time. He destroyed it. He created the incursion. So it's like that's a different scenario. This is a scenario where it's just a normal mutant.
Right.
So how would it handle with a time jumping normal mutant? And it's like time's gonna force you out. You cannot do
Right.
it. It is a situation that
He's
has
not
to
using
happen.
magic, he's using technology.
Yeah,
to do
and
it,
it's
right?
like time is time. It's weird and it's annoying
Time is time,
that in Marvel they're like, and in a lot of things they're like, time is above all. Time is like God. Time can destroy you and do all these things. And I think here it's taken in that way where it's just like, oh, time can take you out, and time is stopping you from going over this barrier, and that's what we're seeing with Cable.
I think he still just needs to figure it out. There's an episode of Buffy where she's caught in a time loop and she's just got to sort of figure it out.
You just gotta.
And there's an episode of Agents of Shield where the greatest show ever that Brandon loves and just goes home and watches to unwind Agents of Shield.
If you're playing along at home, that's our 800th Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. reference from Gina Ippolito.
I think he's just got to figure it out. Do you think that on one of those million times when he went home, he just enjoyed the canapes? Because I would do that at least once.
That's you. That's
Like,
you.
I would
He was
be
like, I already know I'm too late. I'm gonna get some canapes. and some
Exactly.
shrimp.
But again, we don't know.
We don't
how
have
many
shrimp in the
times he's done
future.
it. Shut up, that's
All the microplastics.
I think he did, but I think he has gone back enough where a Doctor Strange or a scientist would have been like, oh, time's ripping me out. Cable doesn't have anyone else. It's just himself doing it. So I think time is doing it. He's maybe gone back a million times, and time is going to keep pulling him back, and he hasn't yet been like, oh, maybe it's inevitable. Yeah. Maybe it's going to happen. It was just Beast, who's a scientist, was able to be like, this is a event that's going to happen over time.
It seems like he just got tired of it. Like, he was like, I got bored.
You get exhausted getting your ass beat and watching a million people die every single time.
It does smack of, the classic paradox in The Time Machine, the Jules Verne novel, where it's like the protagonist creates the time machine in order to go back to save his fiance from dying, but his fiance dying is the reason he creates the time machine, so he can't undo that, right?
So he's got to just be happy with Weena Eloy.
Right, and I guess that like if Cable is going back to save the mutants, he can't undo it because that's the reason he's going back in the first place, right? So it's like, I like that idea that time is not allowing it to happen. Like this has to happen.
Yeah,
and we even get like a little cute, visual in his little presentation of like a timeline with branches that looks very Loki TVA-esque, but I think Bo DeMero's kind of clarified, like they just use that kind of imagery, but it's not necessarily saying Loki's involved here or the TVA is involved. I don't think the TVA is messing with this. I think this is like time itself is like every time he tries to change reality, it won't allow it to happen. Very interesting stuff for this episode. This episode kind of gave us the most Marvel Universe references we'll see in this series. There's like the presentation. We see the growth of Prime Sentinels and Nimrods and this cute little timeline. There's an X symbol. There's a little Marvel Girl symbol, a little claw symbol. What is that? Like
we're actively
beast?
trying to figure out
I
the
know.
claw
I was like,
right now.
save it for the breakdown.
Save it for the breakdown. Eric will figure that out. Not my problem. Not my problem. This episode kind of gave us like all these references to the larger Marvel universe. Doctor Doom, Baron Zemo, Omega Red. That's a mutant thing, but like Spider-Man. Anyone see Spider-Man? You think this series is going to end with even more connections? Are they kind of priming the pump for like episode 3 of this little mini arc to be like everyone's coming into fight?
I think these are just fun things for the audience. Like the Watcher watching Genosha, I don't think it meant like, well, now the Watcher's going to get involved. I think like seeing Spider-Man, like we did see a cameo of his hand in the original when all hell was breaking loose and he was like, flip. I think this was just like, hey, remember Spider-Man, guys? Yeah.
Well, and kind of confirming this is happening in a world with all these other characters.
I think they know the audience wants to drill down into the characters we've already seen instead of being like, and here comes Dr. Doom.
I don't want Steve Rogers saving the X-Men.
Right.
I think it is like also a reminder to be like, remember what came out in 97? Spider-Man 94 did. And they're just putting that in there.
Like there was another animated show. And we know on the Spider-Man the animated series that crossed over into the X-Men.
Spider-Man's
like,
mutation is out of control, and he's like, I better talk to a mutations expert, and that mutations expert was Charles Xavier.
The inclusion of Spider-Man is very interesting. We know, like, right now in Marvel Animation, there's a Spider-Man freshman year. Is that what they're still calling it? Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. That show, but that's totally separate. But there's also, been rumors, especially with the success of X-Men 97, that they might want to reboot that 90s Spider-Man show and kind of do what they did here, pick right up where that show left off. and keep going. And this is maybe like a little tease that, hey, everything could tie together now.
Yeah,
and
hell yeah.
we could have it all tie in and be fun times, happy times.
Happy
Everyone's
times.
get along.
I think also if any child watches it, they're like, I know that one.
Yeah.
Like Spider-Man is the one. Spider-Man is like the why in the Flash we saw so much
Right.
Batman.
Yeah,
Like in a different universe we saw like the what's his name, Nicolas Cage Superman, but then we're also like, oh, here's a bunch of Batmans.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah,
Right.
because Batman's very popular.
Yeah.
So,
So
is
many
Superman.
Batmans.
So many Batmans.
So
We
it's
still
like,
have so many Batmans.
yeah, that was true. But if
They
you
got
do,
two Batmans going on right now.
if you do a
Two
Marvel,
Batmans?
if you do a Marvel animated show, if you don't include like Spider-Man, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah.
Why didn't you?
To
put
me, the
Spider-Man?
Doctor Doom was the most interesting, which the credits listed as Latverian OZT supporter.
Yeah. They didn't name him.
But like knowing that like they have the Fantastic Four, we're excited for an upcoming movie. We don't know if Doctor Doom will be in it. We've been waiting for Doctor Doom for so long.
Yeah.
And just kind of throw him in there as like, what's the plan, boss? It's like, Doctor Doom, you bitch.
What's the
bitch.
plan, boss? Well, it could also be that if someone, I'm sure we get screeners for X-Men episodes, someone else got like screeners or saw all of it, or someone behind the scenes
Yeah.
was like, oh, I see Doctor Doom is in the credits.
Right.
They could be like, maybe let's just call him
Latverian
Latverian.
Yeah,
OZT
yeah.
supporter. Dr. Doom, you bitch. You're better than this, man. Stand up against Bastion.
not
He's got
yet.
a whole country to run.
Yeah, he's like, I'm busy and tired.
I like magic.
I love that. Speaking of like, I'm too busy and I hate this guy.
Yeah.
I like Sinister being like, fuck Bastion. I got
Yeah.
bigger plans. I'm using him too.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, Jesus.
I don't
Sinister.
care about all that. I just want to touch the little muties. Oh,
Yeah.
delicious.
Like in the original series, he had to test on like people in his mental facility.
Yeah.
And now he's just like, you guys are volunteering for this?
Yeah.
I get to experiment on you without putting you into a sanitarium.
Yeah, he's like, I should have just done this if I
Yeah.
knew the internet was so popular.
Yeah.
I've got 3 goo vats and a whole auditorium to fill. Evan?
So, as we kind of round out here in the finale, we don't know if time travel is going to be a play, but in play, Bo DeMeo has been saying that it won't happen. I don't know how
Right.
you guys feel about that. But if there isn't more time travel shenanigans, if this is an absolute point, do you think we'll get a multiverse thing in these last 2 episodes, or do we think that's like a little too big for this story right now?
I think we got to see what happened to Bishop. I think the fact that he
Rude.
started on this series
Yeah.
when he wasn't a regular in the original series was like him being like, I'm Bishop, I'm a time traveler, and then like midway through the season he was like, okay, bye. I think we at least need to see where he went.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll necessarily be like time traveling, but I do think maybe
Yeah.
he's in the axis of time again. Maybe he's chilling with
That would be a good.
Immortus or something like that. Like there, maybe maybe he is hanging with Loki. Maybe he's like, how do I?
Yeah.
Can you help me get back, please?
I normally would disagree and be like, I don't think they're gonna even show Bishop again. But if they did it, they could do the second episode. Half of it, the B story, is just like him in a different universe that's like still like working with someone there
Right.
that would help whatever we're doing here. I also think inevitably more than the multiverse is gonna be the Phoenix Force. Like I think
Yeah.
it's Jean Grey doing
Yeah.
something massive.
Is gonna show
and
up.
I need her to do it.
Yeah.
Because we also
Yeah.
still forget who was shooting them in the heads with ideas
Right.
before Genosha happened.
Yeah, I do think it would be. I think it would be. I mean, they're burning through comic storylines real fast on this show. But I think it would be cool if, like, in the finale, we see the last few minutes Jean turn into the Phoenix Force.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, so season 2 is gonna deal with this.
Yeah, I think, Bo DeMeo kind of saying time travel is not a thing. We're not using time travel on this show. They've been using it on the outsides, right?
Yeah.
Cable and Bishop are doing it.
Yeah,
We're just not
yeah,
following
yeah.
them. I think what they really want to say is like, we're not going to use time travel to just undo everything.
Right.
That's not going to happen here. And knowing that this show has a second season already written, they're going to do a third season, I wouldn't be surprised if the end of this 3-episode arc is very much like, shit's still fucked, dude.
Oh,
and
yeah,
like,
absolutely.
it's going to be the results of this play out for the whole next season.
Yeah.
Or-
So I think
yeah.
we might see what happened to Bishop, but it's not going to undo everything that's been done.
Yeah.
We still need to know who was shooting their brains.
Right.
With the
Who's
ideas.
been shooting
and
the
we
brains.
also need to, now that we just got introduced again to Xavier and Magneto going to war.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, to me, because when he said, to me, my X-Men, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. We have not seen Storm in like 2 episodes.
Yeah, when
So
she was
Storm's
like,
coming back,
"Caw-caw."
and Jean's going to be like, hey, did you know that there was a fake me here?
Yeah.
And she was the one that said
she's
goodbye.
gonna be pissed. She's gonna be like, you could not tell that was not me?
She's going to be like, sister.
By the way,
Sister,
Gene,
sister.
before I left, you promised me $5,000. Now, I understand that was Madeline, but you all share the same bank account, and I think I'm still due that money.
You have to pay the debt that I paid to the bus driver that didn't know who I was.
You have a memory of having a baby, even though you didn't have a baby. So do you have a memory of promising me $5,000? Gene, I know it's in your heart.
I know it's
do the
in
right
your
thing.
heart. Also, yeah, she left, and she's like, maybe she is mourning Gambit with fucking Forge, but I'm like, get your ass back to the X Mansion.
I think
she wants to squeeze in some last minute sex before she goes back.
She can do that. She can do that in X Mansion. She got a dorm.
The creators have been saying that like this is the events of that episode are happening kind of concurrently with
Right.
So that episode did end with her seeing Genosha. So everything that's happened since. She needs to fly home.
But what is she doing?
Yeah, she should have. As soon as she saw it on the news, she should have been like, "I gotta go." But instead, I mean, you don't have a funeral immediately the next day.
Yeah.
They were sifting through Genoshan bodies for days, probably.
She's busy. She's busy.
Look, no one supports what she's doing more than me. No one supports what she's doing more than me.
I think both she and Charles were like, "I need to go, but I am gonna have sex one last time."
Lalandra, make me bark one more time for you.
Get that fanfiction written up. Let's go.
Show me that sharp hair one more time.
Bring back the Breakroom fanfiction. I'll lead it. It's just me and Magneto.
Magnus, I now have you tied up. Anyways, here's a question for you. Why is Beast the worst doctor ever?
Oh my God.
Did Beast kind of like accelerate this process?
Because he is not a bad doctor.
He's not the worst. Just because he can't deliver a baby, which not every doctor can, sir.
He could not help Storm. He could not deliver a baby.
The man has built 3 X-Jets in as many months. He built 3 X-Jets, and he found a way to put a Porsche inside of it. Okay. He's a genius. But when it comes to actual medicine, he's a mess.
He's like, hey, unless it's Transformers G.I. Joe ass shit, I ain't doing it.
Listen, I don't know. Here's the thing.
I think
Bastion was
looking
not
for the Prime
surprised.
Sentinels activated them, right?
But then wouldn't Bastion have been surprised? Like, because Bastion was just like, oh, they're all activated. Cool.
Well,
like,
I guess
it seemed
he
like it was part of
assumed-
his plan. Did he assume Beast was going to do that? Like, did he assume that they were going to...
It sounded like the plan was they'll live as sleepers, and as they slowly come across mutants, they will round them up.
Well,
and then it became like, oh, well, they figured out how to check all the to check for all the Prime Sentinels, so now they're all active.
I think he had, like, his last step was, like, the Magneto shit, and then once he got Magneto, he's like, okay, whenever they want to start. Mm-hmm. And that's why they probably let him take Gyrick's body. They're probably like, it doesn't matter, he can take it because he's just going to start stuff.
I mean, was it just general villainry that was keeping Magneto? Why was Magneto kept alive by Bastion?
He could have been using...
Oh, because he was going to... I think that this is all playing into exactly what Bastion wanted. He wants to blame Magneto for the war.
Okay.
He wants it to be, because like if it's just one-sided, because his whole point was like, oh, people get fatigued when they see images of war and horror and they sort of like check out. But this is like, now he can be like, oh look, Magneto just killed everyone with a pacemaker. Like war is happening. So it's just as much Magneto's fault as it is his fault. So like people can have a scapegoat in Magneto.
I said this earlier. This is why I thought Magneto was bad. I was like, oh, I think he let Storm get shot. He was actually sad about it because he doesn't want to see mutants get harmed. But I think he let Storm get shot so it'd make humans go against and be like, you're actually the animals. But then I was like, oh, big picture here. Bastion's like, no, I've been doing that with both of these motherfuckers. And all he needs, again, is time. And he's been doing time. He's been timed out this entire time. He's been just like sitting in the back shadows, just being like, mess each other up. I'm just gonna put this right here and this right here, and while you're doing that, I'm gonna take over some humans.
That's why he bothered to shave him. He was like, now he's the poster boy for war.
You gotta look good.
There he goes. In his Magneto Speedo. Into the North Pole. It's like, once he starts a war, because he played the news, right? He played the news, and immediately humans were like, they lied, and they took one of us captive. And then Magneto comes free, and he's like, I'm killing all of y'all. And they're like, oh, see, they're lying again. And then here comes Xavier being like, we need to stop Magneto to save the humans. So now it's like, oh, now we got a war of just the mutants going against each other.
Because any sympathy that was garnered when everyone on Genosha was killed, now people are like, oh no, I feel bad. Oh, Magneto's bad too. Now I'm back to hating mutants.
He attacked the whole world.
It's okay.
Yeah, he attacks the whole world, and so it's like, oh, it's not just he's going after who did Genosha, he's attacking
those writers are so slick to make us just go in a full circle back to Magneto versus the other mutants. Xavier came back, Storm has come back, all we're just missing is Gambit, and now it's the X-Men against Magneto again. And I'm like,
Give it to me.
There you go.
Give it to me. And it's all Beast's fault.
I feel
Way
like
to
it is
go,
all
Beast.
So do you think he activated the Sentinels
Yes,
early?
1,000%.
I think he did, but I also don't think it mattered.
Bastion knew.
I think Bastion had a time
yeah.
window, and that window was like, yeah, it could take 5 years, it could take 3, it could take actually 2 minutes. Whatever he does, they have the body to do it now, and whenever they start it, it starts. And
Yeah, I think maybe he did, but it was part of Bastion's contingency
like,
plan.
What's wrong with Trish Tilby? What is she doing?
Ugh, Trish. You
I
should
think
really
she did
disclose that
sign
on your
up
dating
early.
profile if you've been gooed.
She signed up for
But
the
they
program
didn't know.
early and then met Beast and felt bad and then just got activated.
I still don't believe that it was all consensual. I feel like
Okay.
there are some people that were forced into goose.
Yeah, do you think people do you think that it's right now they can only be gooed if they're in the vat, or can
You
they
gotta
be
get
gooed
like
gooed.
injected?
I
Yeah.
think it's more powerful if they all consent, because then it's like, oh, you did
Yeah.
this to yourself. That's some like Black Mirror.
Well,
I
it
think
does.
so too,
it does
but
justify like Wolverine tearing him up, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're like,
Yeah.
they signed up for this.
But also Wolverine also tore up his own team when he killed all the X-Men in a comic book series. So it's like it's not like it's beyond him. But I do think like I don't think he's stupid enough to be like, oh, just random humans. We need to get humans that are also close to the
Yeah.
X-Men. And it's like these people aren't against the X-Men. They're mutants. So how the fuck do we get Trish? And it's just like she's a human. Just pick her up. Steal her away.
I think she
it-
consented.
I think it did accelerate it because if Roberto's butler's been OZT'd for a while.
Yeah.
He's been around him a couple times and hasn't changed yet.
Yeah.
But it was at this moment he changes.
You set the house on fire that had my prize belongings.
Yeah, right?
One of
Who do
those
you
houses
think-
had my mother's ashes.
You know, one of those
how
days.
hard it is to get charred stains off
Yeah.
of marble.
I hate those mutants. They make me clean.
You know, one of those days Roberto was like, hey, Jeeves, I took a big old shit in there. It's pretty messy.
He was
You
like
wanna-
signing the.
And then he was like, I've got this, I'm gonna go goo myself.
I'm gonna get gooed
I
this
have a doctor's
afternoon. I swear to God, I can't believe I cleaned another toilet. This spoiled asshole eating all this fucking fried
The
food.
goo became the funniest thing for us, and I
Got good.
I
Got
hate
good.
it. I hate how.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have 3 new contestants for the goo machine.
I don't think it would be that hard to get people to sign up for the goo. That's why I think it's consensual. I think in our society, I think if you just lay it out attractively and you're like, hey, Trish, you know, there's a mutant who can keep her face young forever. On camera talent. That's
Trish
her
is like,
mutant.
sign me up.
Her mutant power is she stays young forever and she can read a teleprompter.
Yeah.
And
I also
Trish is
don't
like,
think-
I gotta go goo myself.
I just don't think it's too hard to kidnap someone and force them to do things. I could kidnap someone and force them in goo. Like it's not that hard. I can take a baby. I can steal a
heard
baby.
it here first.
Write it down right now.
Jess is kidnapping people
Yeah.
and putting them in the goo.
Watch
Closed
your
caption:
babies.
I steal babies and put them in goo. And then they
Perfect.
become my babies. They forget their mothers and
Oh,
fathers.
no.
And
Oh,
they're
no.
all-
Oh, no.
I just goo them so I get to keep them.
We gotta go.
Gaga goo goo.
Oh, her first words. Hey, while we were recording the show, they tweeted out a phone number for
Why did
Jubilee.
we think about that line earlier?
You thought about it right now.
But we didn't think about it with cable. That was a good line.
What's the Jubilee number?
Oh, we got a Jubilee
Okay.
number here.
So while we were recording the show, they tweeted out a number from old 90s phone. What's the
yeah.
number?
Okay. So it is 914
Uh-huh.
Oh, what area code is that?
361
Wait.
361
361
5397.
5397.
This better not be.
What's 914's area code?
New York.
Oh, Westchester. Heard of it?
No.
That's where the school
Turn on
is.
speakerphone
I
with your
know.
ugly phone.
It's not an iPhone.
Hey, it's Jubilee. I'm so stoked you got my number. Guess what? This May, we're welcoming mutants like you to the X-Mansion. For real. Come hang out and see where the X-Men crash after fighting major baddies. Sounds rad, huh?
Major baddies.
So keep your pagers on for the 411. Got it, Jet. The world doesn't save itself, you know?
Wait, I
This
want to
May.
visit the mansion.
This is like a very
Interesting.
sweet message for 20 years ago
Yeah.
or 30 years ago. Today,
Man,
where
did you
it's
see
happening.
last night's episode?
Oh no!
Julie's
It's
like-
very much in line with the throwbacks
She's
to like,
like-
party lines and things like
Well,
that.
I'm like, for this episode of her being like, and May, come join us. And I'm like, you guys just got your mention.
Bitch, you dead! You gotta be dead!
You guys are all dead right now.
Jubilee!
She's not answering her phone.
The number you have
The
dialed.
butler's a pervert! He's trying to check on you in the dressing room! You gotta get goo, Jubilee. You gotta get goo.
Maybe by calling that number, Brandon just agreed to be goo.
Oh, thank God it wasn't my phone.
God, I'd love to be goo.
That'd be funny. In 2024, they just grab everyone with an Android. Everybody with an Android physically consented.
So a majority of the world? Doesn't like 80% of the world use Android?
No, come on.
No.
You want to check that stat?
Insane.
I did.
Check that stat.
The goo is green and Android text messages are green.
Yes.
It makes
That's
sense.
why you get
Oh
goo.
my God.
80% of the world uses Android.
It's been
That's
in the
why
works for
80% of the
years.
world
It's
is
been in the
goo.
works for years.
I hate all of you iPhone users, and I can't wait till we force you to build us a better society.
This is the whole point of the goo, for the Android users to oppress the iPhone users.
You
Hey.
will press it.
Here's a question. Who is Cable's rebel in the future? And will this are they setting something up that's actually going to be important?
Yeah.
Is this a throwaway line?
No, I don't think anything on this show is a throwaway line.
Sure.
I think you had thought that maybe it was Hope Summers, maybe it was another lady. I think it's someone bad who like realized how bad things were going, like
And is being good?
like Apocalypse or future Sinister. Because in the original, we do see Sinister at some point be like, "Holy crap, Charles Xavier, you gotta help me! This
Yeah.
bad thing is coming!" And I think it's one of those big bads that we've always known as
It's
a big
turned
bad.
good.
Was like, oh, maybe this Bastion thing was a bad idea.
Okay.
So I would love it if it turns out to be like Apocalypse. If he's like, I got a buddy in the future.
you
Don't
did
want
say
to
a
tell
rebel.
you who it is.
A rebel.
Yeah, I could see. I mean, in the alternate future, in Days of Future Past, you saw all of Apocalypse's guys. You saw Magneto fighting.
Yeah.
They were all rebels in that alt future because they were like, well, crap.
Yeah.
This is worse than what we wanted.
Yeah, in One Man's Worth, they're like fighting for Magneto, right? It's
Oh,
like
that's
all
what I
his
meant. One
cause.
man's worth. Yeah.
But even in Days of Future Past, it's implied that like all the mutants were like kind of working together to try and stop.
It could be a
what's going on.
human, right? A rebel, rebelling against someone who willingly gets Prime Sentinel 5, but is able to
but
fight it.
undoes it. Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, I love the idea. You know, in the comics, there's the character of like Hope Summers.
Yeah.
Who is Scott and Jean's. They have a lot of kids, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Baby, it's like the first mutant born after M Day, when the Scarlet Witch had gotten rid of all the mutants and there hadn't been mutants born for a while. This mutant is born, and to protect it, they send it to the future with Cable. Ever heard of that plot? They send, and Cable takes care of it in the future, and then it comes back. And when Hope comes back, then more mutants get their powers back. More mutants start getting born again, and then Hope is like a big part of Krakoa, part of the Five. That's kind of rejuvenating mutants, which I keep teasing that a lot in this series. So I don't know. I think it could be Hope Summers in the future, but again, another Summers person. I don't know.
Who needs summer?
Who needs a summer? Is it Mystique or someone?
Summers.
Maybe we haven't seen Mystique yet, right? Could it be Mystique
Maybe.
in the future?
Mystique, watch Mystique show up and be the heart of the second season.
Yeah.
She needs to show up.
Right.
You can't have Mystique.
yeah.
But then I don't want her to trigger Kurt. I don't want her to trigger.
Oh yeah.
I don't want him.
She's a
I
bad
don't want
mom.
anyone near him.
I think she's locked up somewhere and they're stealing her DNA to.
Yeah, it's
to-
very weird that she has not shown up on that.
It's right. I was like, I even got Emma Frost.
It's
I was like, how am I
glaring,
getting
yeah.
everyone but Mystique so far?
Yeah, there's
At this point, they're
something
gonna have
going on.
like Avalanche from the opening
Yeah.
credits before Mystique.
If
I don't know.
Mystique reveals herself to be Cooper, like right there, like while she's tied up,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
guld be upset. I'm gonna be like,
Yeah, it's
why'd
weird,
you wait
yeah.
this late to do it? Also, why didn't Bastion know? Like,
Yeah.
how did he not know?
Yeah, Bastion would know for sure.
Yeah, he would know.
Okay, well, it's that time of the show where we do each and every week we name a student of the week, and this is the mutant we thought performed the best this episode.
Ooh.
Again, they really don't have school in the series anymore, but
Life
we've
is school, Brandon.
Yeah, life is school. They're a student of life.
They're
Yeah.
Who's the best student of life? Which mutant would you name as the student of the
I'm
week?
going
this week?
Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler. Okay.
I think Nightcrawler, you know, like when we found him in the original series, he was just trying to be a monk, and
Yeah.
now all of a sudden he's like, hey, look at all these swords. Like he adapted real
Yeah,
fast. Like
with
he
the
was like,
tail.
I'm a religious man, I don't harm anyone, and
Right.
now he's like, I'm chopping you to bits.
I'll
How
chop up
can
his
he not
robots.
be the coolest person in the series? Because he's also the voice of reason.
Yeah.
He's just very smart, and he's like, yeah, but think this way. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you bitch. I wanted to be angry forever.
Also, he yes-anded Wolverine hard. Like
Yeah.
Wolverine was like, yeah, I've got 6
Improv?
reasons, and he's like, yes, and more reasons.
And more.
I went to the church. of
I could do
improv.
math as well.
What is UCB's church name? Upright. Oh,
Citizens Brigade.
Yeah,
Upright
both of them.
Church Brigade. I was trying to figure out.
Upright Christian Brigade.
Upright Christian Brigade. There you go.
Upstanding Christian Brigade.
I don't know. You go next. I'm trying to think of who because there's a lot of mutants doing a lot of things.
Magneto Speedo is the student. Doing the most work.
It was doing
It was holding a lot of them.
Hello.
Let me tell you right now.
Now that's power.
Now that's strength.
Now that is strength. I was just happy to see Omega Red, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Omega Red in his little tube.
Yeah, at one point I saw Juggernaut and I was like, is that Juggernaut?
I keep forgetting Morph does that. I'm like, Juggernaut here?
I forgot last week with Quicksilver. I was like, oh shit, Quicksilver. Oh, right. And then this week I was like, wait, how did we get? Oh, right.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I'll give, you know what? I will give mine to, and this will be the only time I will ever do this because I hate him. I'm going to give it to Wolverine.
Okay.
I'm going to give it to Wolverine because he did have to fight a lot and he immediately was ready even when he was falling from the sky with Trish.
Oh, yeah. Falling through the Sentinels.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
but
he was
also,
waiting.
That speech from Trish was kind of hardcore. I loved it. And then she put her like heel on him and I was like,
yeah.
She's kind of cool. But she's not mutant. She's not a teacher. She's not a student. She doesn't get to be one.
Yeah.
Beast, control your woman.
It's a lot of heels stepping on people on this show.
This show is for sex. It is only made for horny people, and they know what they're doing.
Yeah. Sales of heels are the skyrocket.
I bought 3.
Speaking of, we were talking about the fanfiction crossover before between X-Men 97 and Sex and the City. I proposed the title to you, X and the Gooey.
Oh!
Ew.
The fact that it grosses out Brandon so much makes me love it.
It does kind of gross me out.
The fact that it grosses him out.
What about an X like that?
Oh,
because the sequel is just like that.
No one cares about the sequels.
It is not a good show.
And just like Goo. And Goo like that.
And Goo like that.
And
why can't it just be X in the City? Because it's the X. I'm sorry that my puns are not as good as everybody else's.
It's the logical choice. It makes
the most sense.
Yeah. No one steal this idea from us.
X in the titty, and it's just Magneto's chest always open.
Yeah. Magneto's Mr. Big, I think definitely.
No, please don't say that. What is wrong with you?
Honestly, it would probably be either Cyclops or
Mr. Big?
Xavier, because Cyclops has 2 women. He has 2 women. That's the only reason. That's the only reason. He's good otherwise.
Yeah. Cyclops will die on a Peloton. It's true.
I feel like Omega Red is Mr. Big.
Oh yeah. If we're going. He
shows up every now and then, and he sweeps people off his feet, and then he disappears. Then he's at the bottom of the ocean because we're pretending he doesn't exist anymore.
Mr. Big.
All right, well, that's enough X in the City today. Make sure to subscribe to the Breakroom channel right here on YouTube and give us a follow on Twitch where we do these videos live. Be sure to follow us at Breakroom NR on all our social channels. Gina, do you want to tell the folks where they can find you on the internet?
I'm at Gina Ippy on the internet, but once Magneto did that EMP, it knocked everything out.
Oh, thank God. I mean, Magneto, please destroy Twitter. I'm begging you. I'm begging you. Follow at Breakroom NR on Instagram, Twitter, X Threads, all those great places. What's your name? Jessica? Jessica, where can they find you on the internet?
You can find me at Magneto's Cameos.
I can't believe I allowed that.
Oh my God, you actually need to get it now because
I will change my name right now. I don't think anyone cares about Lulu_Clemons. Oh no, because then at my when I have my outros for my breakdown, what does it say? Follow me everywhere at Magneto's Cameos.
You can snatch up a different account name now. You just have 2. One is just for beefcake photos of Magneto.
Oh, that's true. I should.
Put me in the goo, folks. We'll catch you next time. Adios.
Goo goo gaga.
Goo goo gaga.